The shattered Earth. In the not-so-distant future, Earth was a shell of its former self. Once vibrant cities filled with laughter and life now lay in ruins, consumed by the dark shadows of alien ships. These ships hovered ominously over the planet, a constant reminder of the brutal invasion that had shattered humanity's spirit. Among the debris of what used to be a bustling neighborhood, a young man named Alex surveyed the destruction. His brown hair was matted with dirt, and his clothes were torn from weeks of scavenging. He had once been a normal person, with dreams of a bright future. Now he was just a survivor in a broken world. Alex's heart ached as he walked past crumbling buildings and empty streets. Memories flooded back. Laughter of friends, family gatherings, and the simple joys of life. Those days felt like a distant dream, replaced by a harsh reality. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the ruins, Alex spotted a group of people huddled near an old gas station. They were his neighbors, fellow survivors trying to find a way to cope with their new life. Alex approached them cautiously, unsure of how to join their conversation. But he knew he needed to connect. Loneliness had become a heavy burden. "Hey, Alex," called out Lyra, a fierce and determined woman with dark, braided hair. She had always been a fighter, even before the invasion. "Come over. We were just discussing what to do next." Alex joined them, feeling a flicker of hope. "What's the plan?" he asked, eager to be part of something again. "We can't keep hiding," Lyra said, her eyes blazing with determination. "We need to strike back at the aliens. We can't let them take everything from us." Omar, a tech-savvy man with glasses, nodded. "I agree. There are rumors about an old military base nearby. It might still have some supplies we can use." "But it's too dangerous," another survivor chimed in, fear evident in her voice. "The aliens patrol that area constantly." Alex felt a surge of anger. They couldn't just sit back and wait to die. "If we don't do anything, we will be living like this forever," he exclaimed. "We have to fight. We can't let fear control us." The group fell silent, contemplating his words. Then, Lyra spoke up. "You're right, but we need a plan. We can't just charge in without knowing what we're up against." That night, they gathered around a small fire, sharing ideas and fears. They talked about their loved ones lost to the invasion and how they wished things were different. Each story added weight to their purpose, binding them together. Alex felt a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced since the invasion. As the fire flickered, Alex made a decision. They had to prepare for battle. He stood up, his voice steady. "Tomorrow, we scout the area around the military base. We need to know what we're facing before we make a move." The group nodded, a mix of excitement and fear in their eyes. They were scared but felt stronger together. With a plan in place, they dispersed for the night, each person filled with a renewed sense of purpose. The next day, they set out early, moving cautiously through the ruins. The sun rose, illuminating the destruction around them. Broken glass crunched beneath their feet as they navigated through the wreckage. Alex led the way, heart pounding with adrenaline. As they neared the military base, they noticed alien patrols flying above. The ships were sleek and metallic, gliding through the air with ease. Alex's stomach twisted with anxiety, but he pressed on, determined to gather information. "Stay low," he whispered, gesturing for the group to duck behind a large piece of debris. They watched as an alien ship landed near the base. A group of soldiers emerged, their features cold and unfeeling. "What do we do now?" Omar whispered, his voice trembling. "We need to see if there are any weapons left in the base," Alex replied, scanning the area. "We can't attack unless we have something to fight back with." After a tense few minutes, Alex spotted a broken fence that led into the military base. "This way," he said, leading the group quietly through the opening. They slipped inside, hearts racing with fear and excitement. Inside the base, they found remnants of military life. dusty uniforms, old weapons, and crates marked with strange symbols. It was a treasure trove of supplies. Alex felt a surge of hope. "We can use these," he exclaimed, motioning for everyone to gather around. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from outside. The group froze, fear washing over them. The aliens had noticed their presence. "We need to hide," Lyra urged, her voice urgent. They scrambled behind a stack of crates just as the aliens entered the building. The aliens were searching for them, their voices harsh and guttural. Alex's heart pounded in his chest as he held his breath, trying to remain calm. The tension was thick, and he could feel the sweat on his brow. After what felt like an eternity, the aliens left, their footsteps fading away. The group breathed a collective sigh of relief. "That was too close," Omar whispered. Alex turned to them, a determined look in his eyes. "We can't let fear stop us. We have the resources now. It's time to fight back." The survivors exchanged glances, seeing the resolve in each other's eyes. They knew the road ahead would be dangerous, but for the first time since the invasion, they felt a spark of hope. They were not just surviving. They were ready to take back their world. As they made their way back to their hideout, Alex couldn't help but smile. The spirit of humanity was not lost. It was just waiting for the right moment to rise again. And together, they would be scared yet strong. The rising resistance. After their daring reconnaissance mission at the military base, the group felt a new sense of purpose. Alex had ignited a fire within them, and they were ready to take action. The next few days were filled with planning, training, and gathering supplies. They called themselves the Rising Resistance, a name that echoed their determination to reclaim their planet. In a hidden underground shelter, the group gathered daily to strategize. Alex stood at the front, a map of their city spread out on a makeshift table. "We need to hit key locations," he explained, his finger tracing the map. "We can sabotage the aliens' communication systems, disrupt their supply lines, and show them we're not afraid." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "What about the factories? They're probably producing weapons for the invaders. If we can blow those up, we'll cripple their operations." Omar chimed in, adjusting his glasses. "Yes, we'll need to gather explosives. The military base might have some leftover. We can use those for our missions." As they planned, the group formed a bond stronger than any they had known before. Each member brought their unique skills to the table. Lyra's fierce leadership, Omar's tech expertise, and others' knowledge of the terrain. They were no longer just survivors. They were a team united by a common goal. The following night, they set out for their first target, an alien supply depot just outside the city. Armed with makeshift weapons and their newfound courage, they moved under the cover of darkness, using the shadows to hide their approach. Alex felt the thrill of adrenaline pumping through him as they neared the depot. "Stay quiet and stick to the plan," he whispered, reminding everyone to keep their voices down. They crept closer, watching the alien guards patrolling the perimeter. The aliens, with their metallic bodies and glowing eyes, looked intimidating, but Alex reminded himself that they were fighting for their future. Once they reached the depot, Omar began working on disabling the security system. He crouched behind a crate, his fingers flying over a small device he had cobbled together from parts found at the military base. The rest of the group stood watch, hearts racing as they waited for him to finish. "Almost done," Omar muttered, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Finally, a small beep signaled success. "Got it. The security system is down. Now, let's move," Alex urged, leading the group inside. They slipped into the depot, adrenaline surging through their veins. The smell of metal and oil filled the air, and the low hum of machinery surrounded them. As they advanced deeper into the depot, they spotted crates filled with alien weapons. "This is it," Lyra exclaimed, excitement in her voice. "We can use these against them." Just as they started loading the weapons onto makeshift carts, the alarm blared. Red lights flashed throughout the depot, bathing everything in a sinister glow. "We need to hurry," Alex shouted, panic rising. They quickly gathered as many weapons as they could, but time was running out. The sound of alien footsteps echoed closer, and Alex's heart raced. "We have to get out now." They dashed toward the exit, adrenaline propelling them forward. The group barely made it outside when they heard a loud explosion behind them. An alien ship had landed, and the guards were mobilizing to intercept them. "Run," Lyra shouted, leading the way as they sprinted into the shadows of the nearby buildings. They weaved through the ruins, heartbeats pounding in sync with their hurried footsteps. But the aliens were relentless. A group of soldiers appeared in front of them, weapons raised. "Stop," one of the aliens commanded, its voice booming. Just as they thought they were cornered, Alex recalled the explosives they had brought. "Over here," he yelled, leading the group down a narrow alley. "We can use the explosives to cover our escape." They quickly set up the explosives at the end of the alley, knowing the noise would distract the aliens long enough for them to escape. With one final glance at the advancing aliens, Alex triggered the explosives. A deafening blast erupted, sending debris flying and creating a cloud of dust. "Let's go," he urged, and they dashed through the smoke, hearts pounding with fear and exhilaration. The explosion created chaos, and the aliens were momentarily disoriented. Once they reached the safety of their hideout, the group collapsed in a heap, panting and laughing in disbelief. They had done it. They had struck back against the invaders and lived to tell the tale. As they caught their breath, Alex looked around at his friends, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. They were no longer just survivors. They were warriors. Each of them bore the scars of loss and hardship, but now those scars served as a reminder of their strength. "Tonight was just the beginning," Alex said, his voice steady. "We've shown that we can fight back. We'll keep striking until they know we're not afraid." The group cheered, their spirits lifted. They were united in their resolve, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The spirit of humanity was rising, scared yet strong, ready to take on the invaders who dared to take their home. The turning point. In the days following their successful raid, the rising resistance grew in strength and determination. News of their daring actions spread through the remnants of their city, igniting hope in those who had lost everything. People began to emerge from hiding, drawn by the idea of fighting back against the alien invaders. Alex, Lyra, and Omar worked tirelessly to rally more supporters. They held meetings in hidden locations, sharing their plans and successes. Each time they spoke, their words stirred the crowd. "We are not alone," Alex declared passionately. "Together, we can reclaim our home." As they gathered more members, they also found new skills among the people. Some were former military personnel, while others had backgrounds in engineering or medicine. The resistance was becoming a formidable force, and they all felt a growing sense of purpose. One evening, they met in their underground shelter, discussing their next mission. "We need to hit a bigger target," Lyra suggested, her eyes sparkling with determination. "The alien command center is located on the outskirts of the city. If we can disrupt their operations there, we can throw them into chaos." Omar agreed, adjusting his glasses. "If we take out their communication system, we can cut them off from reinforcements. That could give us the upper hand." After hours of planning, they decided on their approach. They would gather intel on the command center, learning its layout and security measures. The plan was risky, but the group felt ready to face the challenge. The next night, Alex, Lyra, and a few others set out to scout the command center. They moved silently through the shadows, hearts pounding with anticipation. As they crept closer, the imposing structure loomed ahead, its alien architecture stark against the night sky. The guards patrolled the perimeter, their metallic forms glinting under the dim lights. "We need to get a closer look," Alex whispered. They ducked behind crates and rubble, observing the guards' movements. After some time, They spotted a weak point in the security, a gap between two guard posts. If we can slip through there, we might be able to get inside, Lyra suggested. They waited for the guards to shift positions before making their move. Holding their breath, they darted between the posts, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Once inside the command center, they found themselves in a dimly lit hallway filled with strange machinery and alien technology. "Let's find the control room," Alex urged, scanning the area for any signs that could lead them to their target. The group moved quietly, each step echoing in the tense silence. They soon found themselves at a large door marked Command Center. Lyra glanced at Alex, who nodded. They were ready. With a deep breath, Lyra pushed the door open, revealing a room filled with alien screens displaying maps, reports, and communications. "Here it is," Omar exclaimed, rushing to one of the consoles. "I can access their system and disrupt their communications." As he worked, the others kept watch, their hearts racing. The tension in the air was palpable. Just as Omar made progress, an alarm blared throughout the command center. The aliens had discovered their presence. "Quick, we need to disable the alarm," Alex shouted, scanning the room for any switches or buttons. Lyra spotted a panel on the wall. "Over there. I'll handle it." She sprinted to the panel, her fingers flying over the controls. The alarm continued to wail, but the sound gradually faded. "I think I did it," she yelled, relief flooding her voice. "Good job, but we need to move fast," Alex urged, watching the door for any sign of approaching guards. "Done," Omar shouted, looking up from the console. "I've disrupted their communications. They'll be unable to call for backup. Let's go," Alex commanded, and they hurried back the way they came. Just as they reached the exit, a group of alien soldiers burst through the door, weapons drawn. "Stop them," one of the aliens shouted, but it was too late. The resistance members rushed past, dodging blaster fire as they sprinted down the hallway. Alex led the way, adrenaline fueling their escape. They navigated the maze of hallways, the sound of alien footsteps echoing behind them. "This way," he yelled, veering into a side corridor. Lyra and Omar followed closely, their hearts racing. "We can't let them catch us," Lyra panted, glancing back to see the soldiers closing in. As they reached an exit, they found themselves in an open area surrounded by alien ships. "We need to find cover," Alex shouted, spotting a nearby storage unit. They dashed toward it, ducking behind the metallic structure just as blaster shots rang out around them. "Now what?" Omar asked, breathing heavily. "We wait for the right moment," Alex replied, trying to control his racing heart. They watched as alien soldiers searched the area, their eyes scanning for the resistance members. Then Alex had an idea. "If we can create a diversion, we might be able to escape." Lyra nodded, a determined look on her face. "I have a few explosives left. I can set them up to draw their attention." "Do it," Alex encouraged. "We'll cover you." As Lyra prepared the explosives, Alex and Omar stood ready to provide support. The tension in the air was thick, but the fear was outweighed by their resolve. With a swift motion, Lyra set the explosives and retreated behind the storage unit. "Now," she shouted, and the explosives detonated, creating a massive explosion that lit up the night sky. The aliens were caught off guard, momentarily distracted by the blast. "Now's our chance," Alex yelled, leading the group out from their hiding place. They sprinted towards the edge of the area, ducking and dodging as blaster fire erupted around them. Just as they reached the boundary, they dove for cover behind a pile of debris. Breathless and exhilarated, they exchanged glances filled with disbelief. They had done it. They had struck a major blow against the alien command center and lived to tell the tale. As they made their way back to their hideout, the weight of their victory settled in. They were not just survivors, they were a force to be reckoned with. The spirit of humanity was rising, scared yet strong, and they were ready to take on whatever came next. Allies in the shadows. As the days passed, the news of the Resistance's daring attack on the alien command center spread throughout the remnants of the city. Hope blossomed in the hearts of many who had been living in despair. With each passing day, more people joined the fight against their alien oppressors, drawn by the spirit of resilience that Alex, Lyra, and Omar had ignited. The Resistance began to form alliances with various groups hidden throughout the city. Many were former soldiers, while others were civilians who had lost loved ones to the invaders. Alex and Lyra met with these groups, sharing their vision of a united front against the aliens. They knew they needed to be strategic and build a stronger coalition if they were to make a real impact. One evening, they gathered in a dimly lit underground bunker. The walls were lined with maps and plans. Alex stood at the front, addressing the crowd of eager faces. "Tonight, we stand united. Together, we will reclaim our city and fight for our freedom." The room erupted in cheers, and a sense of camaraderie filled the air. Alex continued, "But we need to be smart. The aliens will not take our rebellion lightly. We must plan our next move carefully." Omar, who had been studying the maps, spoke up. "We should consider targeting their supply lines. If we can cut off their resources, we can weaken them significantly." Lyra nodded. "That's a great idea. We could ambush their transports as they come in and out of the city." The group discussed their plan, detailing how they would set up ambush points along the main supply routes. They worked late into the night, plotting their strategy and assigning roles to each member of the Resistance. As the sun rose the next day, the Resistance was ready. They split into smaller teams, each assigned a specific location along the supply routes. Alex, Lyra, and Omar led one of the teams, determined to make their mark on the fight. They set up their ambush near a narrow passage where the alien transport vehicles frequently passed. Hidden behind large crates, they waited in silence, their hearts pounding with anticipation. "Stay quiet and watch for my signal," Alex whispered, his eyes fixed on the road. After what felt like an eternity, the sound of engines echoed in the distance. The ground trembled slightly as the transport vehicles approached, their lights cutting through the darkness. Alex's breath quickened, and he signaled for everyone to be ready. As the first vehicle neared the ambush point, Alex raised his weapon and shouted, "Now!" The Resistance members sprang into action, rushing out from their hiding spots. Blaster fire erupted as they targeted the aliens in the transport. The aliens were caught off guard, their initial shock quickly turning into chaos. The Resistance fought fiercely, knowing that they had to seize this moment. Lyra moved swiftly, expertly dodging enemy fire as she returned shots, her determination fueling her every move. "Keep pushing," Alex shouted, rallying his team. "We can't let them regroup." Omar worked to disable the transport vehicles, planting explosives around them. "They won't get away this time," he yelled, his voice filled with adrenaline. As the battle raged on, the Resistance's momentum grew. They fought bravely, pushing back against the alien soldiers. The noise of blaster fire and shouts filled the air, a cacophony of resistance and rebellion. In the midst of the chaos, Alex spotted an alien commander directing the remaining troops. "That one. We need to take him out," he yelled, pointing at the commander. Lyra nodded, determination blazing in her eyes. "Let's go." They darted through the fray, dodging blaster fire as they made their way toward the commander. With a quick exchange of glances, they positioned themselves behind a nearby structure for cover. "On 3, Alex said, counting down. 1, 2, 3. They burst from their hiding spot, charging toward the commander. He turned, his eyes widening in surprise, but it was too late. Lyra and Alex fired in unison, their shots finding their target. The commander fell, and with him, the morale of the remaining alien soldiers began to falter. As the resistance fought valiantly, the tide turned in their favor. The aliens, realizing their commander was down, began to retreat, scrambling back to their transport vehicles. The resistance members seized the opportunity, pressing forward and pushing the aliens back. Omar, seeing the chaos unfold, activated the explosives he had set earlier. The transports erupted in flames, sending debris flying through the air. The explosion illuminated the night sky, a brilliant display of victory. As the hours ticked away, the tension grew palpable. The atmosphere was charged, and everyone felt it. In the dim light of the bunker, they waited, weapons ready, as the sound of alien forces grew louder outside. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the ground, and the bunker's walls vibrated. The aliens had arrived. "Get ready," Alex shouted, raising his weapon. The resistance members took their positions, hearts racing with adrenaline. The door to the bunker burst open, and the first wave of alien soldiers stormed in. Blaster fire erupted, illuminating the dark space with flashes of light. Alex fought fiercely, his mind focused on protecting his team. But as the battle raged on, something unexpected happened. In the midst of the chaos, Alex spotted a familiar face among the alien troops, one he recognized from the resistance meetings. It was a former ally, someone he had trusted. "Why are you with them?" Alex shouted as he fired at the alien soldier. The traitor smirked, revealing that he had been feeding information to the aliens, betraying the very people he had fought alongside. The realization hit Alex hard. The feeling of betrayal cut deeper than any wound. With newfound determination, he pushed through the fight, confronting the traitor head-on. "You will pay for this," he yelled, charging forward. The battle intensified, and the resistance fought valiantly. They were outnumbered, but their spirit remained unbroken. They had come too far to give up now. In the heat of battle, Lara and Omar fought beside Alex, their hearts filled with rage against the betrayal they faced. Together, they pushed back against the alien soldiers, refusing to let their enemy overwhelm them. As the dust began to settle, the tide turned. The resistance fought back with everything they had, and slowly but surely, they gained ground against the aliens. In the end, they emerged victorious, but the cost was high. Many had fallen, and the scars of betrayal would linger in their hearts. Alex stood among the remnants of the resistance, feeling both triumphant and hollow. They had survived the battle, but the shadows of betrayal would always haunt them. With determination burning in his chest, Alex vowed to uncover the truth behind the betrayal. He would not let the aliens or the traitors take away their hard-fought freedom. The struggle for humanity's survival continued, and they would rise again, scared yet strong, united in their fight for the future. They were ready to face the darkness, united in their fight for survival. Rising from the ashes, the aftermath of the battle left the resistance shaken but resolute. They had faced betrayal from within, but they had also witnessed the strength and courage of those who fought beside them. Alex stood among the remnants of the bunker, surveying the damage. The air was thick with the smell of smoke, and the walls bore the marks of conflict. But beneath the rubble, the spirit of humanity flickered with hope. "We survived," Lyra said, her voice steady despite the fatigue etched on her face. "We can rebuild from this." Omar nodded, his expression serious. "But we can't ignore what happened. We need to address the traitors in our midst and ensure this doesn't happen again." As the survivors gathered, Alex felt a sense of urgency. They had lost too much already. "We need to come together as one. No more factions, no more secrets. We are stronger united than divided." The leaders of the resistance agreed, and they began to formulate a plan to regroup and reinforce their position. They would reach out to those who had not yet joined their cause and share their story of resilience and hope. They needed to inspire others to join the fight against their alien oppressors. As days turned into weeks, the resistance worked tirelessly. They recruited new members, trained them in combat, and fortified their defenses. The message of unity spread like wildfire, and people from all corners of the city began to join their ranks. With each new member, their strength grew, and so did their resolve to reclaim their home. Despite their progress, Shadows of doubt still lingered. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that there were still hidden threats within their ranks. He often found himself watching the eyes of newcomers, searching for any sign of deceit. Lyra noticed his unease and approached him one evening as they prepared for their next mission. "You're worried," she said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You can't carry this burden alone. We're in this together." "I know," Alex replied, sighing. "But I can't help but wonder how deep the betrayal goes. We need to root out the traitors before they strike again." Lyra nodded in understanding. "We'll find a way. For now, let's focus on our next move." The day of their planned mission arrived. The Resistance aimed to disrupt an alien supply route that fed their forces. This was a crucial step to weaken their enemy's grip on the city. Alex, Lyra, and Omar led a group of fighters into the heart of enemy territory, determined to strike a blow against their oppressors. As they advanced through the desolate streets, tension filled the air. The Resistance members moved silently, their hearts pounding in unison. They approached the supply depot, a heavily guarded facility surrounded by alien patrols. Alex could feel the adrenaline coursing through him, igniting his determination. "Stick to the plan," Alex instructed his team, outlining their roles. "We need to create a distraction while the others sneak in to sabotage the supplies." With a nod of agreement, the team moved into position. As they executed their plan, explosions erupted in the distance, drawing the attention of the alien guards. The Resistance fighters seized the opportunity, rushing into the supply depot with precision. Inside, they worked quickly, sabotaging equipment and destroying supplies. Alex felt a surge of hope as they dismantled the aliens' resources, striking at the heart of their operation. But just as they were about to leave, a loud alarm blared, echoing through the facility. "Quick, we need to get out of here," Lyra shouted, her eyes wide with urgency. As they retraced their steps, the sound of alien soldiers closing in sent adrenaline racing through their veins. The Resistance fought their way out, blaster fire lighting up the darkened corridors. Alex felt the weight of every life around him, knowing they were all fighting for the same cause. But as they reached the exit, they were met by a group of aliens ready to ambush them. The odds were against them, and Alex's heart sank. "We have to hold them off," he yelled, raising his weapon. In the chaos of the firefight, Lyra was hit, falling to the ground. "No," Alex shouted, rushing to her side. He could see the pain in her eyes, but she managed to smile weakly. "Keep fighting, Alex," she urged, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're stronger than you know." With tears in his eyes, Alex nodded, but he felt a deep sense of anger boiling inside him. The aliens were taking everything from him, and he couldn't let it continue. He gathered his strength and rallied his team. "Fight. We will not let them take us down," Alex roared, firing back with renewed determination. With every blast, every blow, they pushed back against their enemies. They fought as if their lives depended on it, because they did. The Resistance emerged victorious once again, but at a great cost. As they escaped the facility, carrying Lyra's injured form, Alex felt a mix of triumph and despair. They had struck a blow against the aliens, but they had also lost a vital member of their team. In the days that followed, the Resistance mourned their losses but found strength in their unity. They honored Lyra's bravery and commitment to the cause. Alex took it upon himself to ensure that her sacrifice was not in vain. With each battle, the fire within him burned brighter. He vowed to uncover the hidden traitors and eliminate the threat they posed to their struggle for freedom. The fight for humanity was far from over, and they would rise from the ashes, scared yet unyielding, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The final stand. The time had come for the Resistance to make their most daring move yet. After weeks of fighting, they had gathered intel about a major alien base just outside the city. This base was the heart of the alien operation, supplying troops and equipment for their oppressive regime. Destroying it would be a significant blow to the enemy and a crucial step toward reclaiming their home. Alex stood with the remaining leaders of the resistance in a hidden meeting room, their faces illuminated by the dim light of a single overhead lamp. The mood was serious as they reviewed their plans. The loss of Lyra still weighed heavily on everyone's hearts, but her bravery inspired them to fight harder. "We can't let her sacrifice be in vain," Omar said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "This base has to be taken down. We need to show the aliens that we will not back down." Lyra's memory pushed Alex forward. "We need to hit them hard and fast. Surprise is our greatest weapon," he said, his determination shining through. "If we can infiltrate their base and set off explosives in key areas, we can disrupt their operations for good." As the plan unfolded, every fighter present felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting for freedom, for a chance to live in a world without oppression. They gathered their supplies and weapons, knowing that this mission could change everything. The night before the attack, the resistance fighters rested fitfully. Alex lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking of Lyra. He remembered her fierce spirit and the light she brought to their fight. He promised himself that they would honor her memory by bringing an end to the alien occupation. When dawn broke, the resistance moved out under the cover of darkness. They navigated through the ruins of their city, moving quietly but swiftly towards the alien base. As they approached, the sight was daunting. Tall, menacing structures loomed over them, and alien guards patrolled the perimeter. "Stick to the plan," Alex whispered to his team as they positioned themselves at various points. "We go in, plant the explosives, and get out. No heroics." The tension was palpable as they crept closer to the base. The shadows cast by the towering structures seemed to whisper warnings, but they pressed on, fueled by their resolve. As they reached the entrance, Omar used a small device to disable the security system, allowing them to slip inside unnoticed. Inside the base, the atmosphere was cold and sterile. The team moved quickly, avoiding patrols and navigating through corridors filled with unfamiliar alien technology. They planted explosives in strategic locations, each blast carefully calculated to maximize damage. But just as they were about to leave, alarms blared throughout the facility, piercing the silence with a deafening sound. The aliens had discovered their presence. "Go, go, go," Alex shouted, adrenaline surging through him. The resistance fighters sprinted through the hallways, dodging alien guards as they fought their way back to the exit. The team split into two groups to confuse the enemy. Alex led one group toward the main exit, while Omar and others took a different route. They could hear the chaos behind them as alarms blared and lights flashed. But as they reached the exit, they were met with an overwhelming force of alien soldiers. The air was thick with tension as blaster fire erupted around them. "Hold the line," Alex commanded, firing back at the aliens. The resistance fought fiercely, but the odds were against them. Alex could see his friends getting hit, the struggle taking its toll on everyone. "Fall back," Alex yelled, trying to rally his team. They had to get out, and they had to do it quickly. But just as they began to retreat, they heard an explosion in the distance. The base shook, and debris fell from the ceiling. "Did we set off the explosives?" Omar gasped, eyes wide with shock. "Looks like it," Alex replied, his heart racing. "We need to move now." They pushed through the chaos, dodging enemy fire as they fought their way toward safety. The explosions behind them created a chaotic escape route, the base collapsing as they fled. The resistance fought hard, their spirits unyielding as they pushed forward. With defiance, they had to make it. They had to survive this day. The resistance finally reached their safe zone, panting and breathless. They collapsed in a heap, hearts racing from adrenaline and exhaustion. Alex looked around at his team, relief washing over him. "We did it. We actually did it," he gasped. But their victory was short-lived. From the distance, they could see the alien forces regrouping, determined to retaliate for the destruction of their base. The fight was far from over. "We need to prepare for the next battle," Omar said, looking at Alex with fierce determination. "We can't let them take back what we fought for." Alex nodded, his resolve hardening. "We will rise from the ashes of this fight. We will stand together, stronger than ever, and we will not back down." The battle for humanity was just beginning, and Alex knew they would face whatever came next with unwavering courage. Scared yet strong, they would fight for their future and the memory of those they had lost.